Welcome to your teaching session on the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are paired retroperitoneal endocrine glands that are situated on the upper pole of the kidneys. So you can see them here in this diagram. They play a key role in the production of catecholamines. They are situated at the level of the 12th thoracic vertebra, and they are anatomically divided into two separate areas, an outer cortex and an inner medulla. The outer cortex is involved in the production of mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids and androgens, whereas the inner medulla is involved in the production of catecholamines. The cortex is further divided into three areas, so these can be remembered with the mnemonic G, F, R. So G stands for zona glomerulosa, F stands for zona fasciculata, and R stands for zona reticularis. Zona glomerulosa produces mineralocorticoids. An example of this would be aldosterone. Zona fasciculata produces glucocorticosteroids. Examples of this would be cortisol. And finally we have zona reticularis, which produces androgens such as DHEA, which stands for dehydroepiandrosterone. Now let's move on to looking at the medulla. So the catecholamines are synthesized in the chromaffin cells of the adrenal medulla. And now we'll move on to discussing the steps that are involved in the production. So firstly we start with L-tyrosine, which gets converted into L-dopa by tyrosine hydroxylase. L-dopa gets converted into dopamine by the enzyme dopa decarboxylase. Dopamine gets converted into noradrenaline by dopamine hydroxylase enzyme. Noradrenaline gets converted into adrenaline via the enzyme PNMT, or phenylethylamine N-methyltransferase. So those are the steps that occurs in the adrenal medulla. As a relation to this, you might be expected to know about the HPA axis, or the hypothalamus-pituitary adrenal axis. The HPA axis describes the effects on the hypothalamus, on the pituitary gland, and then on the adrenal gland, and this works via a negative feedback pathway. So the hypothalamus secretes cortico-releasing hormone, or CRH, which then stimulates adrenocorticotropic hormone, or ACTH, from the anterior pituitary. The ACTH then stimulates the cortisol secretion from the zona fasciculata, which we looked at earlier, which is located in the adrenal cortex. This cortisol then exerts a negative feedback effect by decreases the cortico-releasing hormone from the hypothalamus, and therefore reduces ACTH release from the pituitary gland. Aldosterone secretion is also influenced and controlled by the renin-angiotensin system, renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, and by rise in plasma ACTH, which also has an effect on mineralocorticoid production. Is also influenced by changes in the plasma sodium concentration as well. For further reading, have a read on the major actions of cortisol and the actions of aldosterone. So that's a quick overview of the adrenal glands. I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you for the next video. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.